Hello, my friends. Now, today let's talk about how I built my cupboards. My goal in building cupboards was to maximize space and to try to make them light, or as light as I could within reason. In one sense, I did achieve my goal, but they're not as light as I wanted to, so I'll give you some details about that in a minute. So I'm going to take you through the steps and how I built them. The first thing I did, luckily this side is not finished. I'm going to put cupboards on this side as well. Well, the first thing I did was I put these pieces of wood. They're like 1.5 by 3/4 deep. And then I bolted them directly to the ribs of the van. There's already holes in the ribs themselves, so I just bolted them, waded into those, so I didn't really have a choice where the bolts went. I just put them where the holes were already. So then what I did was I bolted a piece of plywood onto here, so it covers, like when I do this one, it's going to be from like around there all the way to there. Here we have the interior of this cabinet that's finished. That glue is pretty messy over there, but I may eventually paint over it, so we'll just pretend that looks beautiful. Like this side, much better. Anyway, you can see the bolts where I've attached the plywood on this side, and it goes from end to end. And so after I attach the bolts on the plywood, I attach these pieces here with glue and screws. Everything is very strong here because I glued it and screwed it. This is PL Premium glue, which is really strong. And this thing, I could shake the whole van and it wouldn't move. So once I did that, I had something to attach these dividers into. These are each 1/2 inch thick. And you can see I left a space above here because I wanted maximum airflow, so the air can travel all the way right to the end of the van to the other side. One of the drawbacks of the way I built it was I had this piece in here that needed to be here for whatever reason, I can't remember. And then I built a frame onto it. So yeah, this was here, this is the plywood, and this piece was here. And then I built a frame on top of it to try to make it flush as possible. Keep in mind, everything you see here is built in a Home Depot parking lot with a circular saw and a drill. I don't have a table saw or any fancy tools. So that's the way she goes. Yeah. So here you can see the doors are way heavier than I want. Problem is I bought this piece of pine and it cost me like 50 bucks, so I was like hell-bent on using it. And after I cut it, I realized that the thing has been slightly bowed, warped. So the idea then was to get this oak frame built out and put it so that the door would be solid and not warped. And so you can see I screwed and glued that thing in. This is probably going to be painted under here. The advantage is it's a very strong door. I mean, this thing is not moving. It's rock solid. But it's a little bit on the heavy side, I gotta say. If I just would have used like 1/2 inch plywood or something, or 3/4 inch plywood, it would probably just be fine. But I'm kind of committed, since I've done all the work, to just keep what I have. So then I got these gas struts. As you can see, this is 100N. That's the amount of strength that the gas strut has. And I was concerned at first when I got them because they would barely open. They're pretty tight. But I installed them, and that's actually not too bad at all. So they just close nicely like this. And not too bad at all. I still need to put the little catch thing that will connect to here to keep these closed when they're rattling around. In fact, they're right in here. Got this style. It's like I don't know if you can see that, but it's a kind of like a spring and this rubber thing, and this little piece goes inside there. And I see these really fancy builds when people use these really expensive hardware, and I don't really think it's necessary, to be honest. One thing I did was I had to put all my wires connected. This black one up here is a big bundle of wires that goes from the front all the way to the back. And then these are my solar wires and a whole bunch of cables, but I'm gonna cover this somehow. Maybe with like half a PVC pipe or something, because it goes down there eventually. And yeah, my dinner's cooking. Anyway, that's essentially what I did to build this thing. I'm not quite finished. I still have one more door to put on here. Yeah, you can see all my food just kind of laying there. Food and knickknacks, hot water bottle. For my hinges, I use these really easy to use. I bought like 20 of them on Amazon for a discounted price. Again, I don't see the point in using super expensive hardware. And then I took, instead of having a handle, you can see there's no handle here, right? I just took the plywood, or not the plywood, the pine, and I just used a circular saw and I just removed it up until the point where I hit the oak. So that way it just creates a lip and I could just pull it open. No problemo. By putting my fingers out. You don't even really need it, really. Maybe when the catch mechanism is on, it's going to be harder to open it. But so far so good. So that's how I built my cupboards. The plywood, like this plywood right here, is formaldehyde free. Forgot the name of it. Columbia is the brand. Pure Bond, that's what it is. Columbia Pure Bond plywood. And it's pretty light. It's only a 1/2 inch. It's they call it aspen, which is a kind of poplar wood, which is a softwood. So it's light and a little bit soft. You can see I got this big sleeping bag in here. I gotta get rid of this thing. Now, in terms of the dimensions, it is 10 feet 5 inches from that corner all the way to that one. The depth is 12 inches from here to the wall. And then the way that the roof curves, you can see actually I got a little lip up here. I didn't quite reach the roof. The back end is 12 inches and then the top is 14. So from here to here is 14. It's because of the way the roof curves like this. So yeah, so that was that space, and then I'm gonna have, like I said, from here all the way down is gonna be another cupboard like this. I'm debating whether I should make it a little more shallow so it doesn't stick out as much, but I might just leave it the same. I should also say that these colors are going to change. I'm probably going to paint this black, the gray part, and I'm probably going to stain this dark brown. And I'm not sure about the frame yet. I might just either paint this gray or maybe black as well. I'm not sure yet. Alright, well that's what we have so far for my cupboards. Still got to do a couple doors. I'm not going to worry about building this side yet until I had some other stuff done. It's kind of not a high priority at this point. It does take quite a long time actually as well. Anyways guys, thank you very much for watching, and be well my friends.